Hi guys, so this popped up on my memories for makeup, so I thought I would recreate it. So I have primed my eyelid, done my eyebrows and set the primer as well. So I'm just going in with the Stacey Marie Makeup Artist Carnival palette, and I'm starting off with the colour Wasted. So I like to do both my eyes at the same time, just so that it's a little bit more even. So I'm just sort of going back and forward, sweeping that colour over just to create the depth of the colour that I would like to build upon. And as you can see, my hair is looking a bit crazy. I've got a toner sitting on there because I decided it would also be a good idea to bleach my hair. So I'm just taking little bits at a time of the colour Wasted and just sort of deepening that colour there and just buffing it out just to make sure that there's no really harsh lines, but also making sure it's still quite a bold colour. And I like to use my Zoeva brushes, they're probably my favourite eyeshadow brushes ever. So now, just to blend that out a little bit more, I'm going in with the colour Funky, and I'm just lightly sweeping it just to sort of blend it as a transitional colour up towards my brow bone. Making sure, by the way, that you're going right into the corner of your eyes as well, just so that it looks all nice and blended, and also just so the colour's on the full part of your lid. Just to darken up and sort of connect Funky and Wasted, I'm going in with the Persuasion colour and then buffing that out again with Funky. Because Funky is quite a bold pinky colour, the colour Makeup in the palette, I just take that really tiny little bit and just sort of sweep that over everything as well, just to sort of just dye it down a little bit, because I don't want the pink to overpower this look. I'm still wanting it to be like a nice purpley dark bold eyeshadow there. And then I've just went and used the Fair Play on the brow bone just to give it a little bit of highlight there, and because obviously that's gone on top of the pink colours that we've just done, I'm just sweeping with no product at all, but just the brush that I used with Funky and just sort of like buffing that out just so that the colours are still prominent there. Next, I'm going in again with the Persuasion colour, and I'm sort of going over Wasted, just to sort of make that a little bit more like of a winey burgundy purple rather than a really bold festival purple. And I'm just going in with tiny amounts at a time, and I'm basically just kind of like concentrating the outside corner of my eye to be a little bit darker than the inside, because I like my inside corner of my eye to be really nice and bright. It just makes your eyes look a lot bigger and just puts an emphasis on them. So I'm just going back and forward over that colour Persuasion and then building upon it with the colour Reckless as well. And then again, I just like to keep using that the buffer brush and just blending all those colours together, just so it's a nice transition from my brow bone to the other colours getting darker. And that's got no product on it, but it's the one that I used for makeup. And then sort of just so that we're not losing that the purple colour there, just adding a little bit more of a fun colour again with the Wasted. So it's just really about building it and just kind of like knowing where, you know, you want it to focus the colours on, and just sort of like sweeping it back and forward in circular motion. So I'm just buffing and blending all those colours together, just so that it's nice and seamless, and just, you know, you can see there how it's just a little bit of product just building on it and building on it. You don't want to go in with it too bold, and then it could just muck up the whole look, because you do want to see a nice transition of all those colours. It just looks really, it's got a really nice effect to it. So I'm going in with a concealer now, and I'm just sort of carving out sort of a semicircle there. And the concealer that I like to use, I usually use this one because it's a palette. It's really good to use on clients because it's got various different colours and shades. And this is the Cinema Secrets Pro Cosmetics, and it's in the shades 30366A. So it's light to medium yellow beige undertones, and I just like to use it because it's a nice base. And the reason why I've started with my eyes is you probably guessed we're going to be going in with black, so there's going to be a lot of fallout. So when I'm doing sort of dark eyeshadows using blacks and things like that, and I know there's going to be fallout, it's better to obviously start with the eyes so that you don't have any, like, it doesn't look like you've been punched in the face, and it's easier to wipe away. Patting on the concealer, just covering up the colours, and you can use this technique for, you know, this whole makeup look, and you can use different colours. You can do this, smoke it out with like blues, or you could use greens and blacks. It's you know, this is just a colour that I'm using to recreate what I'd done 3 years ago. To be honest, I don't think I did this 3 years ago. See how makeup's changed and how you sort of like can decide to use different techniques that'll obviously make your makeup last longer and look a lot better as well. So I'm just taking that right down to the outer corner there, and it's just so, like I said, it just creates that base of where you sort of want to direct the black colour. This is the black colour in the same palette. I'm using the same palette throughout, and it's called Lights Out. I absolutely love this palette because you can create so many different looks, and it's just, the colours are so pigmented and it's just so beautiful. And it's so difficult to actually get a black eyeshadow. And it's very difficult to find a dark, like, black colour. Honestly, you think I'm crazy when I say it, but it really is. But this colour, yeah, you have to sort of pat it on and build upon it, but it is a really dark colour, and this will last sort of all day and all night. You just need to make sure that you're obviously setting it, you're priming your eyes correctly, and then just packing on that colour there. Taking the blackest part sort of close to my lash line, and then sort of like I'm sort of patting it there, so it's just kind of like creating a little bit of a smudge, if that makes sense, because you want the darkest bit to be as close to your lash line as possible, and you don't want to go too harshly in the inner corner of your eye either. Go with the black right to the, you know, the carved out concealer part there, because we want to make sure again that it's nice and blended. It's kind of like a big blowout eye. So I'm going in there with the shade Persuasion, and sort of trying to smoke that out there, but just sort of like going in lightly, because obviously the concealer is still wet. You don't want to smudge it anywhere else on your eye, so you just kind of want to set it. Switch to a smaller brush there, just so that I can really focus that colour, just to sort of set that concealer before I start building on the colours and making it really nice and smoky. So I'm just sort of like, you can see I'm like pulling and dragging the colour towards the black, so it just makes it look like smudged and really blown out. I don't want there to to be any really harsh lines. We want it to be nice and seamless. So it almost looks like we've never even done the concealer part there. Just sort of blending it together now, so you just want to go with little by little, just building that persuasion on that bit there. And then I think I went also back in with Wasted just ever so slightly, just so that it's not getting lost underneath the concealer, just so that it's really nice and a good transition as well from black, purple to burgundies and pinks. Because I've used the brush to put on persuasion and a little bit, obviously it picked up some of that black we've already put on, it sort of made Wasted a little bit of a darker purple rather than a really bright purple. So it's looking really nice there, and you can see that it's starting to look sort of blown out and you can't really see where we've put the concealer. Like I said, that's really important to put that concealer there, because it just makes sure that that colour is going to last all day and all night. And then again going in and blending it together with makeup and persuasion. I sort of just dip my brush into persuasion and makeup just to create that nice transitional colour to sort of blow it all out. And don't worry, we are going back in with black again, so we're not going to lose that black that we wanted to focus near the lash line. So it's all about using those colours and utilising the ones that we've already used, and just sort of like going back over in the same sort of order that we've done them, but reversed, if that makes sense. So obviously going in with darker colours and then transitioning out into the lighter colours, just so I keep saying it, so it's nice and blended and you've got a nice seamless eye look there as well. And don't worry about the shape of the outer corner, because we're going to go and wipe that all away anyway. And you can see like how it's getting all blended together, and it just looks really nice and seamless. The thing about using the concealer as well there before we packed on the black is that I always get quite a greasy eyelid. So sometimes if I don't set my eyes or prime them properly, then it sort of creates a crease in the eyeshadow and removes some of the eyeshadow that I've put there. By priming my eyes, putting the concealer on, then setting it and things like that, that's going to ensure that you don't have those cracks in your eyeshadow, and it reduces the oiliness of your eyelid. Going back in there with the colour Lights Out, that's the black shade there, and with my little brush just sort of buffing it out so that we're not losing that nice blown out look, and we're sort of softening that harsh line that I just went and put in there. Going back in with the colour Reckless, that's a dark burgundy colour, and that's just going to be our transition from the black to the purple, and then going in with makeup and a little bit of Funky on my brush. Now I'm just cleaning up underneath. I told you it would be all fine, but you can see all the fallout that's created. So imagine if we had, obviously I would have been more careful if I did have foundation on first, but you can see how much fallout has been created. And I have created looks in this palette, but putting foundation on first. But I just thought, because it is going to be a really dark blown out look, I want it to be really precise. So I'm just creating like that straight line there. I mean, I'm not one for that straight line, but because, like I said, I was recreating what I had done 3 years ago, so usually if I was doing a straight line like that, I would put a winged liner, because it obviously gives like a nice line to follow when you're doing winged liner. Going in with my Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Foundation. Wow, magic! So I've just obviously put my foundation, my bronzer, contour, highlight, everything like that. So we're just going to go under the waterline now, and we're going in first with Persuasion, and just putting that as close to the waterline and lash line as you possibly can. And just sort of sweeping that, not going all the way to the inner corner of your eye, but just sort of on that waterline, like I said, and then going in with Funky just to give it that pinky colour, just so that it kind of mirrors what you have on the top of your lid. And as you can see, I've popped highlight right in the corner of my eyes. Like I said, I love to have highlight there. I could never do an eye look without having highlighter right on my tear duct. It just makes your eyes look so much bigger and open. And I'm just brushing and blending those two colours out with makeup. Going in with the colour Reckless, and it's kind of like when you're painting a wall, depending on what colour is underneath is going to determine what colour it's going to be on top if you're just doing one coat. Obviously if you do multiple coats then you're going to get the colour that you're desiring, but obviously by putting these colours on first it's going to change the colours that you're then building upon on top. So I'm just darkening it up, and you want the darkest colour to be as close to your waterline as possible, kind of like what we've done on the top. You want it to go from dark to light, because we're going to line the waterline with a black eyeliner. So you're wanting the darkest shade to be close to your lash line as possible. And I'm using like a tiny little brush here just because I think it directs where I want the eyeshadow to be much more effectively than it would with a fluffy blending brush. I love this one, it's so pigmented, it's a Kiko one, and I find it stays all night, because sometimes you get ones and they go on okay but then within 5 minutes they're off, or you get ones that they're kind of like a grey black, but this is a coal one, so it's really dark. And I'm just tightlining there as well. All my eyes are always watering at this part, but this is important to do your tightline if you're wearing lashes, because once you fuse your lashes together with false lashes, for me, I see my tightline, and if it's pink it doesn't look right, so it just makes it a bit more seamless. So there are my doll lashes in Jasmine. I absolutely love these ones. They're really nice, especially if you're doing a dramatic look there. So that's the finished look. I hope you guys enjoyed it and learned a few things. Let me know what you think, and if you do try this look, let me know also. Thank you for watching, and I will see you again in my next video. Bye!